Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey, Marco here. I really wanted to share with you our earlier podcasts that we created. Now, our mics were not the best, but the content was really strong, and I know you will learn a lot. We had an absolute blast recording this, and I know you're absolutely going to love it as much as we loved recording it. This extremely content-rich information will not only give you the edge in your real estate investing business, but in everyday life. Enjoy. So welcome, everyone. We're here talking about general contractors, and we're going to go over a punch list of things that you should be looking out for, things that you should put in place before you hire a general contractor, and just make sure you protect your assets whenever you get a contractor or person that's going to be working on your shit, on your asset, and make sure that you do everything properly. Yep. Now, Frank, you've gone through a major rehab on a hotel. I'm also gone through a few. You have a horror story. I have horror stories, and let's not talk about those. Let's talk about
process.
The process, about the process, on how to, as a Canadian, because we are docile as a group, as a bunch. We don't like confrontation. We're sorry. Orangutans are not docile at all. They're very aggressive creatures. Yes, very aggressive, and they have ginger hair, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, so as Canadians, we're non-confrontational generally. We're anyway, as a general populace, we're quite we're sorry about everything, and we always like to apologize. So let's talk about how to manage frameworks, let's call it boundaries that we need to put in place for general contractors.
General contractors, yeah. So I used them for I just recently had a major rehab on a motel in Florida, but I used them with my Panama City ones, the ones with the hurricanes that got houses got destroyed. So we needed general contractors for that. So there's certain ways. There's ways to find general contractors. Let's start there.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So I use there's various sites. Obviously, you can go to the Oracle of the Google and type in general contractor in that state or in that city and find a few. And there's certain questions that you should be asking. I use a site called Home Advisor. It's been working out for us for our projects. They're not just general contractors on that site. You can find anything from any trade. Electricians, roofers, and so forth. But handyman. So for the general contractors, we typically ask initially if they're licensed, insured, and what we do once we get their name is we want to check them out to see if they're registered with that state. So in Florida, we check the Sunbiz, sunbiz.com. We check in if they are compliant, how long have they been in business? Because on Sunbiz, they'll tell you when the corporation or the business was born, like a kid. It's like
that's super important because especially when you're doing things like your roofs, a lot of contractors create companies on a yearly basis so that they don't have to honor any guarantees. So if the business has been around for 25 years, odds are that if they provide you with a guarantee, they're still going to be around in 2, 3, 5 years. But if the company was just created 2 years ago and the guy's telling you that he's been in business for 20 years, then that should raise a red flag.
Yeah. Well, actually, in Panama City, when they had the hurricane 2 years ago, in 2 years ago,
many years ago,
many
moons ago,
what happens? A lot of contractors come from other states,
yes,
because that's where the work is now, right? And they need it. That's fine, noble. But what happens is they come, they register. Some of them don't register at all, but they register, so they're fresh in that state. But the ones that come from the northern states, for instance, their building codes are totally different than the ones in Florida where they have hurricanes and winds and things like that. So they're not, in my opinion, they won't be qualified. They're not licensed to be working in that particular state.
Well, they're not licensed. They're just
they may be
licensed, but their license is in Illinois or they're
where there's
Indiana,
snow. Where there's snow, so they have a different process for the roof versus having to have shingles that are screwed in.
Use different materials too. Yeah.
But they're clever. They do have a general contractor business in the state of Florida because they register with Sunbiz. But you'll see right after hurricane, right after that, that's when you see they're registered. They give you other information. They may be insured, but their insurance may be null and void because it's valid for Indiana, for instance, but it's not valid for Florida because the codes are different. And
Makes sense. So how would I do that research? How would I know?
When I usually phone, when you get the registration number, you have to actually phone the state to the state website that you can put that in for general contractors.
And then
I
find
think
out
it's-
if they're actually registered
Absolutely.
and have a license and
Yeah.
insurance for that state, because the state will actually have that information.
Another
Have the
thing-
general contractor's license number.
Yeah, even if you don't want to do the work, let them do the work. So you know what? I need your license.
Yes.
And on the license, it's gonna have the stamp with the embossed. It's gonna say the state where their license
Like
is. The embossed. Yeah, I like that. That's a big stamp. Oh, the rippled paper. Yes.
That's
I
how I
got it.
used to write his papers at school.
So that would be the first thing: is find out who you're dealing with. Pick 2 or 3. Do that preliminary before you go into a deep dive into the agreement. Once you find one, they seem reputable. Ask for some references.
Yeah.
I would definitely ask for some references. And I laugh sometimes. I just had one right now, a contractor. He sent me some pictures. He goes, "Look at some of the work we did." And I called him out because now I know, but I called him out. Like, how do I know these are even your pictures? They look fantastic, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
If this is the work you did,
Yeah.
I go, but I suggest in the future when you do take pictures that you're in the picture or your crew with a logo
Yeah.
is in the picture. Like, understand these people can take pictures from the web, and I had someone do that. They go, look at these pictures, look at what we did. And I'm like, okay, good craftsmanship. And then when I go there and we look and we're like, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Like the baseboard's, going this way. Like it's not leveled, nothing, right? They don't know how to use tools. So be very careful when they do send you
pretty funny.
references or even pictures. Make sure that they're in there, and those are the legit ones. And they have a website. They have that presence. They look real. They smell real. So
You
that
smell them too?
I don't smell them, but
Like their butt, like a dog?
Yeah.
Yep, you're
Yeah,
real.
yeah, you're real. You smell
Bend
it,
over,
sweat,
I want
yeah.
to smell something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So those are my preliminary ones I do because honestly, what you're doing is depending on how the size of the project, you want to retain these general contractors for future projects if they are good and
That's
if they
right.
are legit. So that would be my preliminary.
But there's other ways of finding them, right? So obviously there's the referral. So anybody who knows Frank usually gets a good referral because he's done all this work already.
I thought you referred to my paisans.
No, those we have to check their license.
Okay. Most of my family's in construction. We're tied. They're construction.
Construction.
Yeah.
The other way is
Well, they wake up with a tool belt.
Yeah.
My dad's always with a tool belt. In
Nice.
case he's walking down the hall, he's got to fix something. You know what I mean?
That's really
He
funny.
whips out a.
He wakes up
Okay.
with a tool belt. I don't know what he was doing last night.
No.
He's
He's
got
got
the
the
tools.
screwdriver ready and
I know how to fix this problem.
And another way is you can go to your local Home Depot and ask who they have affiliations with, because generally they won't want to be affiliated with anybody crooked. I mean, you still have to do your homework on the back end, but it's a good way of getting some referrals if you don't know anyone in the area.
Actually, you know what? That's how I did find one. I didn't go there because I'm from Toronto, but I phoned the pro desk. Actually, that's a very good. I remember this.
Yeah.
I phoned the pro desk at Home Depot, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to be buying some things there. Whatever. I need some rentals. Can you recommend certain trades because they know the trades there?"
Sure.
And she goes, "Oh, you got to call Sam or you got to call Joe. He's very good at this and that." And they give you the card so you don't have to go there. But yeah, very good. That's a very good source because they're dealing with suppliers there on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Even supply companies is a good thing. If you're dealing with a roofer, phone the biggest roofing company or supplier in that city and say, "Hey, do you deal with ABC Roofing?" "Oh yeah, we know Jim. Whatever. Are they good standing?" And they'll tell you limited information,
Sure.
but if they know them, that's a good sign. If they're in arrears, if they know them in a different way, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, they won't refer that guy.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
girl.
Yeah. So he'll say he's a crook. If you know where he is,
let me find him.
I don't know where he is. Yeah.
And then Frank will charge extra to get that.
Yeah, I have a
There's a
finding
finder's
referral
fee.
service.
There's a new business opportunity there. Well, for a small fee,
It's a business profit. Yeah, I always look for business profit. Yeah.
hey, we'll take a percentage and his legs.
Yeah. Okay. So once you do your legwork and once you do your
Interesting.
preliminary searches, yeah.
Good segue.
I'm not worse than I started that business. Although I was in that business, but I didn't want to even open that up.
The mob?
Huh?
Where?
No, not the mob. No,
Talking about people breaking people's legs.
next to the mob, which is government.
Yeah.
I worked in certain departments
Fair enough.
where
Fair
Frank,
enough.
Frank would seize
we've been
shit.
knocking on the door. And,
Let's not talk about
but-
his shady past.
Yeah, but
He's done
Anyway.
he's done his time. We don't want to talk about
that's the legalized mob, basically.
He's done his 25 years.
I did my quarter of a century. Yes. Yeah. Don't remind me. It was depressing.
This is not in jail, in prison. We're talking about servitude for the government.
Yeah, I was serving
undercover.
To serve undercover.
Yep.
Okay, so once you do that preliminary legwork, once you select one, they're gonna go. There's two ways to get quotes from these general contractors. Some of them prefer to give you a quote on the labor and the supplies. Mm-hmm. Now, in order to do that, the bigger the project, it's going to take a little bit longer because what they do is they get the engineers in there. They do a drawing. They take all the measurements of all the rooms and everything, what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, permitting and everything. So sometimes they will take up to a month to compile that. Oh, yeah, to compile out all that information with supplies, price out supplies, and the time-wise, and then they give you that price. But they're responsible for everything. But again, there's always going to be a disclaimer somewhere on their contract saying, hey, any unforeseen things is going to be plus. So if you have the luxury of time, which we don't, I don't like that way because I'm like, holy shit, even if they do all this, there's markups on everything, of course. Mm-hmm. So which I don't like. But there is markups on when they buy the lumber, there's a 50% or
plus 20
markup on top.
Plus 10, 15 or 20.
Right? Plus they're getting their profit on that. So I don't like that route. Again, I never did go that route, but another option is, and not all general contractors will do this, so I would ask, part of your preliminary steps is they'll take, what they'll do is, to get the ball rolling, is they'll just take a percentage of the project. So if they project that the project's going to be worth $150,000, they'll take a 15% cut, period, off the top. So it doesn't matter if it's 100 or 150 or it ends up being 300.
Yeah.
Right? If you go over budget for whatever reason, you find things as you're doing your rehabs, which is very common as well, that you do go over budget because you just find shit on the way, right? Unless it's a new build, of course. That's different. But so that would be the ideal way that I would suggest you get started.
So cost plus 15%, for example.
Cost plus 15 or
cost plus 10.
10.
You'll negotiate them down to 2.
I don't think you're going to get under 10, but God bless if you can. That would be great.
Well, you don't want that.
If the project's big,
if it's a $5 million project, then we have more. There's more juice, right? Yeah. But if it's a $100,000 project, and the guy's having to be there every day, and you're trying to give him to work 3 months for $5,000, I wouldn't do that.
No.
So and you think he's going to be motivated to come in every day? And his work is going to be shit.
Exactly.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Let's you got to invest the money where it makes sense and cut costs where it does make sense. You don't want to nickel and dime people that are important. Do you want to work for free? Do you want to work at a discount? You want good quality work, and you want to have someone that's loyal and reliable. There's a great value to loyalty, and there's a great value to them being there when you need them. Very, very valuable. Very valuable.
Yeah. So 15 to 20 is the norm. On my project, it was 15%, and you can give bonuses too, and that's where we'll go into that. So if you say they agree to the 15 or 20%, what you should do or look for in the contract or in the agreement is a few things actually. Number one, how are they going to get paid? What's the draws? So you want to lay that out. Methods of payment is very important because I have some people, they get amnesia. And all of a sudden, as soon as they're done, I want my check. And I go, I can't squeeze it through the phone, man. And I go, I'll give you a credit card. We don't accept credit cards. I was like,
I want cash and I want it now.
So
it's amazing when they want money, like tradesmen or and I'm not saying everyone's like this, but when they're not used to being in business and they're used to on Friday at 5:00, if they don't have money in hand, they're literally going to quit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're going through that right now on a fence. Like the guy was nice. We're nice to him. He did the work, whatever. Goes, where's my check? Give us the invoice. So he gave us the invoice, the bill.
Yeah.
And I remember Linda, she specifically said we only pay by check or credit card because those are the only two methods we do.
Yeah.
And they fluff it or they just dismiss it because they want the work at first.
Yeah.
But then once the work is done, they're going to need my payment. It's like, all right, I don't accept credit card. Then I'm going to have to pay merchant fees, which is another big thing for some of them. They don't want to pay the merchant fee, which is fine. Right. And then to wait for the check, we do it online. Again, we do this virtually. I do from Toronto. So I just go on my online banking and I
How do you do it? Show me one more
I
time.
go like this. I go my online banking. Forget my password sometimes.
I know your password now.
You know my password?
I just saw it, yeah.
It's password.
Yeah.
Or forgot password.
I was going to say, his password's always forget password.
Forget password.
It's new every time.
Forget password 1, 2, 3. I think I'm at 100. But anyways,
My goodness.
so I go online. So it takes 3 to 5 days.
Sure.
When's my check gonna get here? And I was just on a call right now. When's my check gonna get here? I go, I'm not wearing the blue outfit that says United States Postal Service. I go, I'm not delivering this shit to you. So I go, I don't know.
So
What does
funny.
it take? 3 to 5 days? I don't know, man. I don't even know where it's coming
Yeah, but
from.
I
to be
guess
honest.
that's part of the kind of the process of dealing with
It,
most GCs.
it is, but it's crazy. So I would put it on paper, which we didn't do for the fence because it was a minor thing. But for a general contractor on a project, please put the method of payments, lay it out so everyone
And the
knows.
timeline of the payments too.
So you,
So the payment method, so the payment methods is one thing.
Yeah.
The timelines, absolutely. The draws, when did they get their draws? Because they want, give me 50% up front. The problem with 50% up front is horrendous. What happens if these guys walk off? You don't know them. And they could walk off with your check during the hurricane in Panama. Some contractors were demanding, they demanded even for me, they want the whole insurance check.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people gave them that don't know any better. They gave the whole insurance check. Good God.
and they disappear.
They disappeared. They can't find them. There's horror stories up there, which is terrible shit business for people doing that. It should
Never
be
do
conscious,
that. Never do that. Yeah, and they're scamming people that will never be able to recover.
No.
And it's
terrible.
terrible.
That's for their house. That's to fix their house.
I know,
The
and
insurance gives you the check, and that's it.
But I mean, the insurers need to fix that too. They should just deal directly with GCs.
I don't
and
like the way they
pay
do it
for
over here,
invoices,
but but that's the way it is. Here you go, Frank. Here the adjuster goes in, and I think we talked about in this a different episode about the disasters could turn it, lemons could turn into lemonades. Is they give you the check and they go, see you later, man. Which is crazy.
and sometimes it works in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. And if you don't know what you're doing, and you give over your insurance check to someone that you think is going to take care of your house because you just don't know what to do,
Yeah.
and they steal it, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's they can go to prison for it. It's fraud, but it's still terrible. You have to go through that.
Huge lesson.
Yeah.
Huge lesson.
It's a lesson you don't want to have to learn.
No.
No.
So basically, I would lay out the payment methods, and then I would lay out the draws. And specifically, the draws, I would use percentages. So for myself, you can use whatever combination. If they're paying for materials, I would do 15% up front, just till they get through to half. Because that 15%, depending on the size of the project, whatever, maybe 15, you can bump it up to 25 and do 4 draws at 25, 25, 25, and leave the last one for the final inspection.
Absolutely.
So this one I did because it wasn't what they're doing initially is a lot of it's already cleaned out. They're doing some siding and some sheetrock. It's not going to take a lot of material cost. So what I did is, because that's a $70,000 job, so what I did is I did 15% just to start, so they have money. In all fairness, they're going out. They don't know you either. So in all fairness, they're going out buying materials, put it in your house or in your property. So I gave them 15%, then I did 30% once they're half done. Then I gave another 30% when they're 3/4 done, and a 15% when
inspection is finished.
well, no, when it's completed, like 100%, and then I left I think another 5 or 10% at the end when someone actually inspects it to make sure that it's done. So this way you're covered, and there's certain draws. It's laid out. Again, you don't have to use that method. You can use 25, 25, 25, 25. But just something where they get some as they keep going, because what happens is if you give them too much up front, this is what happens. And it happened once before. You give them too much up front, they work. Once they get to 3/4 done and they got the majority of the money, and just say they get another job now that they have to start right away because it's a $100,000 job. They're going to pull their men from your site, and they're going to go on that job, and then for that 1/4 that needs to be done on your property to finish, it's going to take much longer because now they didn't want to sacrifice the big job, so they pull their men. They go there, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. So there's no motivation no more.
So there's that issue is simple to deal with in the agreement too, right? So you'll put in timelines. So what I like to do is, if you're telling me it's going to take you, say, 2 months to finish the job, what I like to do is, that's fine. So if the price is this much for 2 months, then if you're delayed, for every day you're delayed, then you're going to start taking a hit on your price. Just like if you finish early and the work is done correctly, you can also provide a bonus. And so it works both ways. But this is going to incentivize them to actually finish the work, because otherwise they'll never get their money.
Yeah. Yes. So you do want incentives, and you want penalties for finishing on time within a window. If they say 2 months, usually I add a week or two in contingency.
Yeah.
Because nothing ever is done on time. So I'll say, are you sure it's going to take 2 months? Yes. Okay, I'm going to say 2 months and 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks grace. After 2 weeks, this is going to be the daily penalty, because this is a day that I'm not open. This is a day that I can't rent. This is a day that, it's costing me money. There's an opportunity cost, which you had to learn that lesson the hard way. You went 6, 7 a year.
Well, it was
over.
it was 6 months.
Yeah.
That's what they projected. I gave him 9 because I knew it was a retrofit.
And they took 18 months.
And they took 18. It was double, and the opportunity cost and the carrying cost.
It cost you more to be closed. It cost you $100,000 easy to not be open.
Absolutely, it cost me actually the equivalency of what we spent about 150, 170 in the reno, but that's probably what I lost for that.
Yeah.
Another 9 months.
And when we had that discussion,
I know
it hit you like a ton of bricks. You're like, holy shit, you're right. It was
because you don't realize you just think you're thinking the carrying costs, your insurance, your taxes, and things like that. Whatever you're thinking, you're paying that, and you're taking care of your investors. But when you put it to perspective, say, Frank, even if you're at 50% occupied at this rate, which is the competitive rate, you're missing this much each month. And then we calculate, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It is. It's a shocker.
It's terrifying. It really is. And and we actually have, I have a form, actually, if you are interested in a contractor form that tells you timelines, when they're supposed to have things, and some small contractor agreements. I'd be happy to give you some sample forms that you can use to start managing contractors. Just email me, marco@marcokozlowski.com, and it'll have a lot of these things on there and some sort of discussions that you can have with them, and make sure that you use this paperwork, even as a template, to be able to protect your investment and make sure that you're not going underwater with contractors. Because even like material, theft, where they're buying, they're saying they're spending money on material, but they're actually overbuying on material so they can sell the material later. There's all sorts of things that can happen. Or they take material and it disappears from the job, and then they have to buy more material because they don't have insurance, but they're making you pay for it. Or they do have insurance, so they're getting the material twice. There's a lot of interesting things that can happen with contractors, and that's why I just don't have the strength and the ability to. I'm going to say the mind power to be on top of a contractor on a daily basis. I'm a lot more docile in that way.
Join the club.
I just don't want to have to deal with a contractor. I hated it. Don't ever want to do it again. It's not my cup of tea. Some people love it. They love that, giving people shit every day.
I'll help you out with that.
That's why we partner up with Frank.
Frank likes it.
I'll put in
what the fuck is going on? I want to just
put a stool belt.
I'd rather be doing other things. I have much better things to do. But there's a lot of small. It's the devil is in the details specifically.
There's a lot more. We're not going to go through them all, but there's a lot more details that you should be considering, like how you're going to pay them. Where they should draw for the materials and things like that. So. There's a lot of listen, guys. I learned this
the hard way.
Well, that's what I was saying.
But your family's in construction too, so you see what can happen and what not can happen.
Yes, my dad had. It's the what you nailed it with the supplies. The supplies disappear. It's. Like for us, we had like all our faucets disappear. Yeah. Those faucets, they cost like $150 a pop.
Yeah.
And they just disappeared. I'm like, what do you mean? We ordered it. Here's the order form.
Nope, never got them. Don't know where they are.
They're not here. The plumber's like, they're not here, man. I can't do the work. And then they even charge you for going out there because there's no supply. It's nuts.
It happens over and over. We ordered P-Tax, which are air conditioners, and 50 of them, at $800 a pop. And you ordered 54 of them, and only 30, and there's 35 and where are the others? I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. It's just, I had one contractor that took an old air conditioner from an old unit, put it into, basically so the air conditioner was broken, took an air conditioner, bought a new air conditioner, but took an old air conditioner into an old unit and put it in there and kept the air conditioner for himself.
So,
on that note,
I'm just,
that's why you take an inventory. So when you're doing a big rehab,
serial number.
Exactly.
Go ahead. You can.
I was just gonna say that you have to take an inventory of everything you buy and everything that you already have, just in case it's replaced, and keep serial numbers, model numbers. If you even have the age of the unit, pictures. Keep it all, because that's how you're going to be able to find out if somebody's trying to pass a quick one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's so many things, and the stories that we have, we could actually do 17 episodes just on a couple of things.
But I think these are good nugget. Like, these are sort of the most important parts, because these are the ones that most people learn the hard way, and these are the ones that are the most costly.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a contractor show up, do most of the work, and leave. Good luck having them come back, because they have other work. That's the only reason they're not on your property.
And if you don't have the right agreement, they could actually put a mechanic's lien on your property to get paid, even though they didn't do the work.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have to have an agreement that they've signed off on that will remove that mechanic's lien when it's time, because that actually can happen.
Yeah.
And it does happen.
Yep.
So you want to protect your assets as much as possible. So have the right agreements in place. Make sure you know what you're doing. Get a mentor, someone that can actually guide you through, what to do, what not to do, and allow you to, not step on any landmines. Because if I've done this myself. You get a contractor, you pay them, and they disappear. You get another contract, you pay them, they disappear. And then you get another contractor, they do shitty work, and then you have to redo the work. And 5-6 times this happens, and then when you get to sell the property after overspending, there's mechanics liens on all the properties, on all the contractors that have basically disappeared. Mm-hmm. And now you're having to unwind all this shit, and it's a nightmare. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, and not all contractors are bad. But there are definitely things that you should do to protect yourself from the predators out there that do want to take your money, because it's easier to take your money than it is to actually work for it.
Yeah.
And
these are just ways for you to avoid ending up in this situation.
Exactly. So it's just basically putting a condom on your business, just protecting yourself. You just got to get protected.
I love that analogy. Yes, very good. Yep.
You're nice, very nice. I like it. It's nice. It's number one. Well, we had way too much fun on this episode. We'll see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed it.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.